hand it over to Dr. Campbell.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much, Joe Frazier. I am Dr. Dean Campbell. I'm the Assistant Dean for Academic Services here at North Carolina A&T State University. It's my pleasure to welcome you and to thank you for your interest in graduate studies here at the university. I hope that you're able to see the agenda that I've placed here, trying to share my screen just to give you an overview for what we will walk through this evening. We're really excited to have several staff and faculty available tonight to speak with you about various aspects of graduate studies here at the university, and we're excited to share that with you. You'll see right on the well, you'll see that I've just put up the wrong agenda for today. So let me circle back and get the correct one. Sorry about that. We'll come to, there we are. Oh, that's still not the right one. Let me just do this. Here's a good one. It's got the correct times with the wrong date, so we'll edit that real quick. But what we'll do is we're really excited to have our Dean of the Graduate College, Dr. Clay Gloucester, Interim Vice Provost for Graduate Research and Dean of the Graduate College, to bring some welcoming remarks to get us started off. So I will, with I think the help of BizNets and Joe Frazier, who's helping to facilitate this, we'll share the podium or the screen so Dr. Gloucester can bring us some welcoming remarks here.
Good afternoon. Hello, everyone. My name is Clay Gloucester, and I bring you greetings on behalf of the 1,500 graduate students here at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. We are excited that you are interested in joining the Aggie family and becoming a part of the Aggie family. And we just would like to welcome you to the #1 public HBCU in the country, as recognized by U.S. News and World Report. We would like to welcome you to the largest historically Black college and university in the country. We would like to welcome you into the fold of, like I said, 1,500 graduate students who are pursuing graduate degrees in about 10 PhD programs, half of which are in engineering, who are also in a PhD program in joint programs with North Carolina A&T and UNCG. We'd like to welcome you to the 28 master's programs and approximately 10 certificate programs that we have. We look forward to you joining us here on campus in the fall. We look forward to you becoming successful in your graduate education. And we look forward to, after graduating from North Carolina A&T, you become a part of an alumni that recognizes their students wherever they go. And after you graduate, you'll begin to live your best life. Once again, I welcome you home to the Aggie family. Thank you.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you so much, Dr. Gloucester. Going to see BizNets. Are we able to transition back to my slides for the first part of our presentation here today? There we are. Hopefully you can see on this slide that we are very excited about celebrating 80 years of graduate education here at North Carolina A&T. And we'll be doing that all year, celebrating that important birthday. And I'll be sharing a little bit more about this special milestone in the history of graduate education here today. What we'll spend a few minutes going over is how to successfully apply to graduate school, right? We think that's there might be some important strategies and important information that we'd like to share with respect to that. So we'll be talking, basically answering some of the questions about how to successfully apply and maybe even how to help pay for graduate school, right? As I mentioned earlier, we're very excited to be celebrating 80 years of graduate study at North Carolina A&T. And as this slide shows, in 1939, A&T was authorized by the state legislature to begin offering graduate programs. And within 2 years, we were happy, or we're celebrating the fact that Mr. Woodland Elroy Hall, who's pictured here, became the first A&T graduate degree awardee, earning his master's degree in agricultural education in 1941. Mr. Hall went on to have a fairly distinguished career as an agricultural educator in the state, serving as a principal in several counties in North Carolina, and had even published his master's thesis in the field of agricultural education. So we are excited to recognize both his professional as well as his scholarly efforts in acknowledging the 80 years of graduate education here at A&T. And we're not stopping there. As you can see, the university didn't stop there. The first PhD programs were authorized also 25 years ago to this year in the field of engineering. And even since then, even since the university has attained doctoral research university status, meaning that the university is competing and is recognized among other peer universities across the country as an institution that's engaged in research and is also producing PhD students in many fields at a pretty significant number. And I think Dr. Gloucester shared some of the enrollment figures with us just a minute ago that continue to exemplify the upward trajectory that A&T is headed in terms of graduate education. Did you know that as of 2019, A&T enrolls over at least 50 or more African-American PhD students in the STEM fields, and that also since 2019, as is pictured here, there's a fellowship that's been established in Woodland Hall's name called the Woodland Hall Fellowship Program that recognizes leaders, student leadership in graduate education. 13 of those scholars were selected last year, and there will be another significant number selected for 2020 this year. So just a real high-level overview of the very exciting and proud history of graduate education here at A&T. So you're in this webinar probably because you're obviously thinking about graduate school, and as this little diagram shows, you're thinking about it, and you're considering the options that are available to you, and we're very thrilled that you picked A&T, but you're not alone. I thought it might be helpful for us to just think about the big picture about graduate school. Why go to graduate school? A lot of people are thinking about going to graduate school, and just to kind of get us in that mode of thinking about this question, I thought it might be good for us to take a quick poll on this quick question. So I'm going to share in the screen here a couple of questions I thought might be of interest for us to look at. How many graduate degree holders do you think that there are in the United States? For example, are there 10 million, 16 million, or 53 million as of today? And then similarly, how much is graduate degree enrollment expected to change in just about maybe the next 10 years? You think it's going to decrease by 5%, increase by 3%, increase by 10%, or do you think it's not going to change? And then finally, what do you think's the average increase in earnings for those who earn a graduate degree? Right. So we're going to try to get some of your feedback on that. I see some of you are already voting. We really appreciate that, and we'll try to weave some of this feedback and some of your thinking into this presentation here. So I'll keep the poll open. And we'll walk through some of these strategies about how to successfully apply to graduate school. But go ahead and just keep sending in your feedback and your responses to that. So graduate school, you want to know what the big picture is when you're applying to graduate school. This might include things like having a good sense of your own professional expectations. You know, it's important to have a good impression, and you want to know how your experience is going to fit into those expectations. That'll go a long way in helping you demonstrate when you've got to write maybe in a personal statement what you expect to get out of graduate school. It's important to craft an overall narrative. What do we mean by that? What we mean is that there's several parts to the application process, including things like your maybe your resume, maybe again your personal statement, or even the transcripts that you're going to send in. All of those and recommendation letters, all of those tell a story about you. And so it's important to consider how each part of that application shows what you're going to bring to the table, and then how graduate school can help you achieve your professional goals. So again, thinking about how do all those parts work together, and then being able to give a clear, consistent picture of what you think your goals, what your professional and scholastic goals are. You want to show your personality. Lots of folks applying to graduate school. We'll talk a little bit about that. A lot of people applying to graduate school, and many programs are competitive. So what makes you a little unique? This may be a place you can show some of your own hobbies, interests, or even your non-academic accomplishments as they relate, of course, to the particular professional field. And that can be an important way on how to distinguish yourself in the application process. And then finally, demonstrating your own interest in a particular program. It's important that the admission committee know that you're truly passionate about the subject matter, and that you're going to be motivated to work really hard to get into and then make it through graduate school. So, you know, I talked a little bit about the competitive nature about graduate school. Did you know that just a few years ago, there were over 2.5 million people who applied to graduate school? That's 2.5 million applications. And that as recent as 2 years ago, there were just over 3 million people in the United States enrolled in graduate education. Speaking about 3 million people enrolled in graduate education, how many of those are going to go on or will go on to add to those who already have a graduate degree? So the answer to our first poll, I'm going to go ahead and shut that down now and see what our responses were. So it looks like the most popular response was 16 million. So if you picked 16 million, you were correct. There are 16 million graduate degree holders, master's degrees, even law degrees, medical degrees, PhDs, 16 million of those, which represents about 9% of the adult population over the age of 25. That's how those numbers are sort of generated. And that's taken from the most recent census. Let's move on a little bit to talking about some other tips for applying to graduate school. So the one of the components for applying to graduate school are transcripts. And just similarly here at A&T, we do require that any post-secondary enrollment and courses that you've taken, you must send transcripts for all of those institutions that you've attended. We only need unofficial transcripts in order for you to get an admission decision, but official transcripts will be required once you're admitted. There is a little caveat: if you attended an institution outside of the United States, we will require a third-party transcript evaluation. It must come from either World Education Service or ECE, and those must be course-by-course evaluations in order to receive an admission decision. You want to make sure that those are ordered well enough in advance, particularly if your institution's overseas, to allow time for those transcripts to reach A&T's graduate college. Even in light of the sort of global health concerns that are going around, we are still receiving applications if you need, transcripts. If your institution cannot send one electronically, you're more than welcome to have one sent to us by snail mail, and we'll be happy to process that. And then another tip in applying is the personal statement, which is an important part of the application. We do require the personal statement in your admission application. And so we encourage all applicants to focus on your accomplishments. You want to be able to speak very clearly and succinctly about your professional as well as your scholarly accomplishments here, using specific examples that are very clear to individuals who may not be familiar with maybe some of the work settings that you're coming from, or maybe laboratory work that you've worked in. Be clear about why you're choosing the program at A&T. Is what's unique about the program that you think is going to help you get to the next level. And then talk maybe about your past, present, and future research. It's perfectly fine to say there might be some areas that you need further skill development in, or more knowledge about, and that this is the place that you think is going to help you sort of fill those gaps that you want to get in your professional portfolio. Always always keep in mind that you want to write for sometimes a non-specialist audience, and so limited use of a lot of technical or very technical language you might want to keep to a minimum. And then, of course, follow the directions. If there is a word limit or a page limit, you want to be sure to stick to those. Recommendation letters are another requirement for an application for admission. And we think that it's really helpful when applicants have chosen recommenders very well, and that the recommenders know the applicants well. We do have a state-of-the-art electronic digital recommendation system. So when you are applying, it can all be managed electronically with your recommenders. And so that's a great way to get strong recommendations from professionals or past professors that know your work and that can speak to your capability to do advanced graduate level work or advanced academic work for you. Be sure to request these recommendation letters well in advance so that your recommenders have some time to, if they need to, reconnect with you if you've not spoken with them in a while, to be able to address how they can best represent you and your skills in the recommendation letter. 6 weeks is usually a good window of time to give the recommenders some time to prepare your letter. Let's go right back very quickly before we move on and on how to pay for graduate school to some of the responses you had to the second poll question. How much is graduate degree enrollment expected to change by 2028? The most popular answer was increased by 10%. Well, according to one of the resources that we have looked at, it's actually going to increase by about 3%. There are just under, as we mentioned, just about 3 million individuals that are enrolled, graduate students enrolled in graduate study right now. That's expected to go up to about 3.1, 3.2% by 2028. So it's not 10%, but it is an increase, and that shows that as the knowledge economy grows and the competitive nature of needing to have higher level skills, graduate education is going to be at the forefront. How can we best pay for graduate school? Well, we're very excited that North Carolina A&T has a number of financial resources for graduate students. And as this slide shows, this is part of the university's drive to enhance both the research profile of the institution through graduate education. So I'm going to share with you a few resources that you can know are there to support your interest in graduate study, which does somewhat relate to our third question. What's the average increase in earnings for those who have earned a graduate degree, since we're talking about money? The most popular answer was 15%. Well, you'll be excited to know it's actually 25%. So it's very it can be a very good investment to take the time and the energy and the sacrifice to pursue higher education and graduate study. I'm going to review just a couple of resources that the university has. The first is actually called a graduate fellowship. As the slide shows here, that's a grant awarded. It's not a loan, it's a grant awarded to students to support them in their pursuit of research while they're in graduate school. What's listed on the screen here are the names and some of the monetary amounts for fellowships that A&T offers. You should know that there are many other fellowships that are outside of A&T. I'll talk a little bit about those near the end of this presentation. But fellowships are awards that don't require any teaching or laboratory research effort while one is a graduate student. They are competitive, they're merit-based, they provide, as you can see here, funding to cover tuition and fees. And they may also include funding to support professional development, like going to conferences for graduate students. They're usually a year long, and they may be renewable at the end of that year. A lot of the fellowships are prestigious, and that offers students an opportunity to put that on their resume and have an advantage in the job market once it's time to graduate from the degree program. Some of the other financial resources are available at A&T are assistantships. And as you can see, these are similar to fellowships in that they provide tuition and fee support as well as some pay. But they do have work experience that comes as a requirement. which generally will be as a teaching assistant or as a research assistant working with a faculty member in the lab. Both of the fellowship and assistantship application requirements start with the admission, to the program. So the way to apply for an assistantship and a fellowship is to apply for admission and be admitted, because in both cases, faculty nominate the most outstanding students for these awards. And you can see we're past the deadline for fall 2020, but generally the deadline to apply for these is February 1. There are a few.
Campbell, I have a question about that deadline as well.
Sure. We can take a second there, Joe. Go ahead.
Okay. So several students want to know if they applied before the admission, completed their application before the admissions deadline, when should they hear something back about funding decisions?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you had applied before the deadline and if you received your admission letter, departments are right now departments are now nominating those students for the awards, and we would expect by the end of March, those notifications should all be out. So just about any day now. This slide does show again the types of graduate assistantships. As I mentioned already, could be teaching, research, and there are some administrative assistantships working as a administrative assistant in a administrative unit in the university. There are some scholarships. Some are merit-based and some are need-based. Again, to qualify for these, the need-based scholarships require the free application, the FAFSA, and we'll have a representative from financial aid to talk a little more about that. Merit scholarships are also available. Again, to apply for these, you have to apply for admission and be admitted. I mentioned earlier that some of the fellowships are available externally, and these are just a screen grab of several other agencies, foundations that provide fellowships to graduate students. They have their own application process, and you can go to their website and take a look at what they require. We have here, I've placed on this slide an A&T link that lists several other external funding sources that have fellowships. The graduate college, so what can you expect when you're here as a graduate student? Well, we have a very good array of professional development workshops and online resources to help you prepare and be successful immediately when you're finishing your degree. So this just lists some of the categories of those different types of professional development resources that the graduate school offers. And you can again go to our website, www.ncat.edu/TGC, the graduate college, to learn more about these professional development resources that are available to all PhD and master students while you are here as a student, because we believe that you should start from the end and work backwards. If your goal is to graduate and to graduate quickly, we want to provide you those resources to help you be the most well-rounded scholar and professional at the end of your graduate experience. So that will conclude the overview here about how to apply, some strategies and how to apply, and then how to pay for graduate school. We're really excited to have with us a few colleagues from some of the resource offices around the university to share with you some resources we think might be helpful to help you have a good quality of life while you're here as a graduate student. Most of your time as a graduate student will be spent and reasonably, and it should be that way, at the academic department. But we're so much more on our campus that we wanted to be able to just give you a quick overview of some of the other resources. So I'm hopeful that we have Mr. John Tilaha from the University Library to share with us a few minutes on some library resources we think might be helpful. So I'm going to see, with the help of BizNets, if we can have John join the.
Yes, I'm here.
Now. Okay, great.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, yes, John, we can hear you.
And let me see if I can share my desktop. Can you see my desktop now? I don't think I've pushed the button to do it. Let me try it now. Share screen, this one. Okay, and then I'm going to move my this over here. Can you see that now?
Yep.
Should be the library's webpage. Thank you so much. And thank you for the opportunity to share about the library with this incoming group. I appreciate that. The library appreciates that. And my dean appreciates that. So thank you. We do need to share that right now, the library is operating on limited hours. As you can see up top here, we're only open 8 to 5. I'm actually still in the building because of this presentation. I wasn't sure how my connection from home would work, and I knew the on-campus link worked great the other day when we practiced. So the library's webpage is library.ncat.edu. At the moment, there is a link near the top to tell you what resources are available in person and online. We have a large portion of our collections are electronic collections. So they are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The building itself may be limited in hours, but the access to the resources, once you're a student here at A&T, are not limited by time or space. We have this area called Quick Search, where most individuals will start their research. There's this search box here in the center that is very similar to a Google search or a Google Scholar search. If you're familiar with either of those, the big difference between Google Scholar and ourselves, the Aggie Gold search, is that our search box knows if the library has purchased the journal so that it can take you to the article and you can see and download and read the PDF of the electronic article. Google Scholar, if you're working from home, might ask you for a credit card. So the library has already identified those items that the university has paid for. Those databases that contain those articles are listed individually. We have over 400 databases now. This Aggie Gold search searches a good portion of these databases, but it does not search all of them. So it may be that when speaking to a librarian, we will tell you a very specific database to go to help you with your research. All of the databases are listed under this link, all databases by title. It is a very long list. And again, the alphabet is broken out here on the right-hand side, but you can see it goes down, and I'm not sure if it'll tell us a count at the bottom, but there are, as I said, between 400 and 500 databases now. The two most popular ones that we show the undergrads are listed here on the front, Academic Search Complete and ProQuest Central, and graduate students are encouraged to use those as well because they are interdisciplinary. They will go across the entire university. There are other databases that we would recommend to graduate students that we do not recommend specifically, especially to freshman researchers. I want to point out our guides up here at the top of this page in the center. They are listed by subject, and by subject, you can equate that to department. So if you scroll down and you see your department listed, or you see your college listed, you will see guides that we have created for that department that will link to maybe a dozen databases. So instead of guessing which of the 400 you might want to use, the guides here will identify a dozen, maybe a little bit more for your department, your area. For example, adult education, going into adult education again, and then clicking on find articles. Here's a list of several databases that we recommend for adult education. So that's how easy it is to navigate over to a set of databases that is specific to you and your studies. Up at the top, hours and location, they're copied over here on the right-hand side, and our normal hours of operation in the fall, we hope, will be Sunday from 1 o'clock to Friday at 8 p.m. The library does not close. We're open 24/5, and you need your Aggie 1 card to swipe in after midnight. So the doors lock at midnight, but your Aggie 1 card still gives you access. That's important because several of the graduate programs you finish at 9 o'clock at night. You can still come to the library, stick around. If you're a late night owl, you can keep working long into the early morning. Other things to talk about from this page, I talked about the hours. We do have limited services at the moment. The location of the library, let me see if I can pull that up real fast. So this is a quick slideshow that we usually show the freshmen, but I'm going to introduce a couple of the slides here. This is a map of the campus. It might not be the most current map, but here's East Market Street, and Bluford Library is here. Gibbs Hall, where the Graduate College is, right next door. So we're very close to where the Graduate College offices are. We're named after the third president of the university, 1925 to 1955. There have been 2 libraries on campus named after him. The first one is now the Fort IRC Center, and Bluford Library was dedicated 25 years ago in 1991. Usually we're open, as I said, the access online is 24/7, 365. In this case, 366 because we're a leap year. And there's the website again. We do have an Ask a Librarian service. And so let me get out of my PowerPoint for a second. That Ask a Librarian service is under this Ask Us link right near the picture of Bluford. That Ask Us service, we're pleased to announce a new service. We can now answer questions, not yet in real time. We're not quite a chat service yet. That'll be announced in this box here when we get the chat service up and running in a week or 2. But we do have access to frequently asked questions. If you were to click on that link, you would see some of our recent questions, and we're building this bridge as we walk on it. So these questions, the frequently asked ones, will build over time. You can put your question in here. Actually, no, you would come over here to submit a question. And here's where you would put your question and submit it to us here at the library. And we would get back to you within a reasonable amount of time. We hope within a couple hours. If it's overnight, give us time by the next morning, and you'll get an emailed response, usually, of that question and our response to it. And you can always ask us more questions if you need. When we're back up in the fall, you can schedule one-on-one appointments with librarians. You can call us right now. Our reference desk hours are open. So here's the number to call, and there's a 800 number if you're long distance, although, so just give us a chance to help you. Down near the bottom of the page, there is this list called Library Liaison Contact List. This is also by department. So there is a librarian dedicated to your college, or if there's more than one per college, definitely to your department. My name is here underneath the College of Engineering. I am the liaison for most of the College of Engineering. Because we're on limited hours, you might not want to try us by telephone, although most of our voicemails do roll over to our emails. And the link here gets to my email. So for College of Education, there's 2 librarians associated there, Business and Economics. Tiffany Russell is your librarian, and you can just see from this page who are the people that you can count on to assist you individually if you're not able to make it to campus, or if you just want to get a heads up on how to get some help. That information is available from any page on the library. So have I gone over my time?
No, John, you hit it right on the head. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
I hope you'll be able to hang around if we have any questions, maybe at the end of our final resource office.
Yes.
To take some. That'd be great. Thank you so much. I know I actually have a question for the library, but I've written it down here and I'll come back to that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Dr. Campbell?
Yeah, hi.
Before we, you can tell me whether you want to hold this question, but it was a couple of follow-up questions to your answer about the funding. I can hold on to those or ask them now.
Yeah, if we could, if we could hold those, maybe if we have time right at the end of our student resource offices piece.
Yeah.
I will, you can even, if you want to send them to me, Joe, I might be able to answer them while we're on chat.
Okay.
But I want to make sure we give our other presenters some time through our 6:15 deadline.
Great.
Thank you so much. Do we have Ms. Stephanie Lynch from Financial Aid on the conference? I'm looking at our presenters. Ms. Lynch, are you there? Okay. Yep, I see her here. She seems like she's muted. I'll see if I can unmute her.
You can't hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now, Stephanie Lynch.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, I'm here.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. So yeah, we've just finished with library. I'm sure you've been listening in, and thank you so much for joining us to share with our prospective students some of your thoughts and resources about financial aid and how they can support graduate students.
Okay, well, I want to go ahead and start. Hello, everybody. My name is Stephanie Lynch. I'm the Assistant Director here in the Office of Student Financial Aid at North Carolina A&T State University. We bring you greetings from our financial aid colleagues and our Director, Sherry Avent. I'm going to go ahead and share my presentation now.
That's great. We can see that.
You can see that? Okay, yep. Great. Okay, so the basic question that we want to make sure that everybody understands is, what is financial aid? And financial aid basically is assistance that helps to cover educational expenses. It covers tuition and fees, room and board, books and supplies, personal expenses, and transportation. A financial aid package may include loans, institutional aid, or outside scholarships. Applying for financial aid. The first step in applying for financial aid is to go to www.fasa.ed.gov. Our school code is 002905. Graduate students, you must create an FSA ID, username, and password. Your FSA ID is your identification number to access your federal information. The FSA ID provides access to the free application for federal student aid and the National Student Loan Data System. For this year, the 2021 academic year, the FAFSA is now open. You must use your 2018 tax information, and we do highly, highly recommend that you use the IRS data retrieval tool within the FAFSA. What the data retrieval tool does is it downloads your tax information, so we won't have to ask you for any tax documentation. Please understand that the FAFSA is a free application and does not require a fee for completion. Scholarships, you heard some scholarships from Dr. Campbell. We have scholarships here. We have a scholarship website. This is how our website looks. We have institutional scholarships, and we highly recommend that you look for outside and external scholarships. Now, gift aid, we like to let you know that gift aid is just scholarships and grants. And what gift aid means to anyone that has a financial aid award is that it's money that does not have to be paid back. It's either awarded on the basis of merit, skill, or unique characteristics, and sometimes it's awarded on the basis of financial need. If you are receiving a scholarship from an outside agency, please send a copy of the notification letter to the Office of Student Financial Aid. All checks should be made payable to North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University and sent to the Treasurer's Office. Self-help. Self-help is pretty much loans. And if you are a graduate student, you are eligible to receive up to $20,500 if enrolled for 9 credits per semester. Students must be enrolled at least half-time to be eligible to receive a federal loan. So in other words, you should be enrolled at least 5 hours or more to receive the $20,500 for the academic year. The thing about the unsubsidized loan is you are responsible for the interest during your enrollment. Other funding to consider, there's a Graduate Plus Loan Program that's available to you if you get your $20,500 unsubsidized loan for the year and you see that you need additional funding. The Graduate Plus Loan Program is available to you. Please keep in mind that it is a credit-based program, so you do have to have good credit to use that program. Veteran benefits, we also have alternative loans, which are private loans. And again, if you see that your unsubsidized loan is not enough funding for your graduate program, you can also apply for alternative loans. And again, just like the Graduate Plus Loan Program, alternative loans is based on your credit. The school offers a payment plan. It's an excellent payment plan. You can check with our Treasurer Office, or you can check on the Treasurer's Office website for more information about the payment plan. As I mentioned earlier, the 2021 FAFSA is available now. Read all information sent to you from the various offices is very important because when you're dealing with financial aid, you're primarily dealing with deadlines. Respond in a timely manner to requests that we have for additional documents. Keep a financial aid file for your records. Keep copies of any documents submitted. Be mindful of important dates and deadlines. And once submitted, check your Aggie email account regularly. And do not submit your confidential information by email. So we can't say this enough. Complete the FAFSA as soon as possible. It opened up on October 1st. Our priority filing date is December 1st. Submit all requested documents. Investigate other sources of aid, such as scholarships. Thank you so much for allowing me to participate in this program. We are located in the Office of Student Financial Aid in the Dowdy Administration Building. Our hours are from 8 to 5, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We are open additional 30 minutes on Tuesday, so we close at 5:30 on Tuesday. This is our website, www.ncat.edu/finaid. Our email is finaid@ncat.edu. Again, thank you for having me here at this program, and my name is Stephanie Lynch, and I'll be hanging around for additional questions at the end.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lynch. Appreciate that. And we appreciate you also hanging around. I know we're going to try to keep things moving so that we can get some time at the end. And I think we're making good progress there. I think I did see Ms. Christy Dunstan on the participant list. So I'm going to try to go ahead and get her up and enabled. And Joe Frazier, if you're able to do it too, if you can find it faster than me, that'd be great too. Let's see.
The speakers can share their screen and just unmute themselves.
Oh, okay, great. So Christy, I think we are delighted to have you join us. Looks like that's your screen coming up. Are you able to, I know.
No, I can't share my screen until Stephanie unshares hers.
Okay, great. Stephanie, did you hear that?
I heard it. I have to stop share. I'm sorry.
No problem.
Okay, I did.
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Christy Dunstan, and I work in the Office of Career Services at North Carolina A&T. And so I just wanted to share our staff that we have. So Cynthia Downing is our Executive Director. Kendra Haywood is the Associate Director of Career Services and Employer Engagement. So she works a lot with our employers, getting them on campus. I am the Associate Director for Career Counseling Programs, and I help and assist students with resume, cover letter, so really that preparation as you're getting ready to apply for jobs. Pamela Brashear is our Assistant Director for Experiential Learning, so she helps students as they're looking for internships, co-ops, and practicums. Shantae Gentry is our Assistant Director of Employer Relations, and so she also works with employers and getting them to recruit on campus. Kiara Stevenson, she works with me in my department as we prepare students for these opportunities. Janelle Prince works with our recruiting and scheduling. So when employers have information sessions on campus, she provides that assistance. And then Constance Booker is our administrative support associate, and she works with basically everything else. I like to say she holds everything together. She holds everything together for our office. So our office, we do provide career counseling and coaching for students. So if you're not sure, you're in graduate school and sometimes life happens, things change, and you're thinking about all the different directions you can go into with your degree program, then we offer that assistance. Also, we have assessments, My Plan, which is online, which is a career and personality assessment. We hold workshops and classroom presentations for students. We have a career and leadership development conference annually where we bring in employers to present programs to students. And then we also have an etiquette dinner where we go through the process of etiquette with students. We have career fairs in the fall and spring. So we have a big career fair in the fall, and then we have a big career fair in the spring. And then we do have multiple career fairs throughout the semester as well. So we have an education career fair, we have a graduate and professional school career fair, and I believe there's one more that I'm missing off the top of my head. I can't quite think of what it is right now. I think it's a part-time fair. And then we have Aggie Link, so that is our online job and internship co-op. If you're looking for full-time, part-time, on-campus employment, that is specifically for students. And that is also where you would upload your resume so that you would be able to apply for these positions. And if employers had interviews where they're doing on-campus interviews, where they come to interview students on campus, you would be able to find that there, as well as if they had workshops or information sessions. We also provide resume and CV critiques. We have Interview Stream, which is our online mock interview service for students. So if you wanted to practice a mock interview, then you can practice online, record yourself, and look at feedback. We have employer site visits, employer meetups, and then we also provide LinkedIn profile reviews and critiques for students as well, because we do know that's important, having that virtual presence. And then we do have our graduate students career readiness, just this expectation checklist to help you as you prepare for the next step once you graduate and you've completed your degree program. So we do have steps and advice for you as you are going through and matriculating through your program. And then we like to focus our programs on the career readiness competencies. And these competencies are from our national association, and they got together with other career offices and employers, and they were like, what's the list of competencies that we're looking for from students? And so we look at this list and we try to think about our programs and how we can structure our programs to fit with the competencies that employers are looking for. And also, as you are structuring your resume, your cover letter, your CV, your LinkedIn profile, how are you displaying these skills to employers? So there's critical thinking and problem solving, or written communication, teamwork, digital technology, leadership, professionalism and work ethic, career management, and global intercultural fluency. And we know that students build these competencies while they're in the classroom and taking their classes, but also while they're doing outside activities, internships, jobs, volunteer experiences, professional associations. So we just want to help students as they think about how they can add these activities and showcase these skills to employers that are recruiting. And then you can connect with us. We are located in Murphy Hall, Suite 101. That is our telephone number, the website where you can go to look at additional information, our email address, and then you can connect with us on social media. Currently, we are virtual. All of our services are virtual for students, so we do have that ability as well. If you are a distance learner, we provide Zoom and telephone appointments for students, as well as virtual mock interviews, virtual services. So we do have those for the distance education learners, or if you just can't make it. Sometimes it's hard to make it to campus as a graduate student because maybe you work full time and you can only have an appointment maybe during the day, during your lunch break, and we can provide those services for you virtually as well. And thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. Dunstan. And we look forward to maybe engaging with a few questions towards the end of our space here with the resource offices. So our final student resource presenters will be from our Graduate Student Advisory Council. It'll be the leadership, students from the leadership of that group, Ms. Stephanie Azubike and Mr. Edmondson Effort. I'll turn the webinar over to them now.
Okay, good afternoon. I don't think Stephanie was able to make it, so my name is Edmondson Effort. I'm the Vice President of Internal Affairs for GSAC. That's the Graduate Student Advisory Council. I'm going to share my screen right now and hope that it works because I'm a computer scientist and it'd be very embarrassing if it didn't. Okay, there it goes. So the mission of the Graduate Student Advisory Council basically is to provide communication and collaboration across the university. Unlike when undergrad, your undergrad time, where of course you get to be on campus and a lot of times you're just getting away from home and it's kind of like in a different life phase. You get a chance to, cafeteria and all those other things. As a graduate student, you're focusing more on your professional development. In most cases, grad students, unless you went to the same institution for undergrad, you're not going to know where stuff is like the nursing building or where the stadium is. Sometimes we find out grad students don't even go to a lot of the events that typically you would see that undergrads go to. So really we want to provide the support and the collaboration and communication so that the needs of the graduate students can be met. Some of the things that we did last year, of course, we always try to do a welcome cookout. We like to have off-campus events. One of the things that I would say that we really encourage other grad students to take advantage of, we do offer mini research grants. These are grants that are just literally, basically all you have to do once we announce them is write up it's like a 1 to 2 page proposal, and literally if it's for travel, if it's for research equipment, whatever it is, we try to provide those so that way grad students can have some extra resources for whatever it is they need to do. Most times, yes, faculty will provide monies for travel and stuff like that, but it is nice to know that there are other research opportunities for funding. Also, we like to do a 3-minute thesis competition. Of course, we were supposed to try to do that this year, but of course, with the current environment, some stuff happened. But literally, we host a lot of seminars, and of course, we always do a spring reception. So of course, that leads us to this year, where we did do the welcome reception. We actually had a bowling night, which was really fun. A lot of times being able to just commune and get a chance to meet the other graduate students and kind of fellowship and get to know, like, hey, these are some of the resources. And there are some difficult times and difficult things that as a grad student, you'll have to face. And as to have that support system say, hey, these are some ways you can get around certain issues that you might come across as you're going through your program. It is definitely a unique experience. One of the big things we always like to harp on is making sure that you have a good relationship with your advisor. Unlike undergrad, when you're doing your master's or especially your PhD, you really need to make sure the relationship between your advisor and you is at least a productive one. You don't have to be best friends, but you need to be on the same page so that way you can get your stuff, the resources, and the work done. If you don't have that kind of relationship, a lot of times grad students don't know that, yes, you can change advisors. We always say find a good working relationship because we want you to finish. So that kind of support is what we certainly are here for. This year, we also did do the mini grants. We were supposed to do a research symposium. Unfortunately, that was canceled. We were probably looking to do that next year, so be on the lookout for that. One of the things that you might be asking, well, what do you need to do to be involved in GSAC? Well, really just check your emails. It sounds kind of simple, but literally as a grad student, you will be automatically added to the GSAC communications. And so they will be we send out emails explaining what are some of the events coming up, some of the proposals, and certainly some of the opportunities that we have for providing little funding opportunities like the mini grants and the research competitions. But of course, we're also there just in case you have like some questions, maybe that your department hasn't able to answer. A lot of times there's a lot of resources and a lot of wealth of experience within other graduate students who are going through the same process. So we certainly encourage everybody to, reach out. This journey it's challenging, but it's worth it. And so we want to make sure you actually get through it and get through it successfully, and make sure you take advantage of all the opportunities that are there on your way to getting your graduate degree. And my contact information, the president, of course, Stephanie, that's her email address. You will be getting emails if you're a graduate student. You'll get the communications anyway. Please read them. They actually contain some quality information. So we want everybody to collaborate. Doesn't matter what your major is, whether you're doing master's, course route, thesis, PhD, the graduate experience is certainly an exciting one and challenging. And so that's why we want to make sure we provide the support. And that's it.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Efford. We hope you can hang around just a couple seconds in case we might have some questions, either for GSAC or for any of our other 3 presenters here this evening. We've got a few minutes before we transition over to our graduate program representatives, who I see are getting lined up, joining the meeting, but we've got a few minutes. Joe Frazier, you said you had, there were a couple questions earlier. If you had any other chat questions or